Robert Strano, and I am the Cub Master for Pack 22 Braintree Cub Scouts. I want to thank the Braintree Bicentennial Time Capsule Society, the Braintree Historical Society, the Scout leaders and Scouts of Cub Scout Pack 22, and all the participants in today's program. I welcome you to the Treaty of Paris of 1783 Anniversary Observance. Our opening exercises begin with the posting of the national colors by leaders of Cub Scout Pack 22 and the Den Chiefs, our Pledge of Allegiance led by Emmett Lee, a Weewilla Scout from Pack 22, followed by the national anthem, and concluding with the invocation by Deacon Bill Prue. Thank you for being with us, and welcome to our program. Now, please stand as we begin our opening exercises. Cub Scout Pack 22 Braintree leader, Color Guard. Color Guard advance. Emmett will now lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Color Guard, please post your colors. And now join us in the national anthem. Thank you. You may all be seated now. Thank you, Emmett. Actually, sorry, I jumped the gun. Can everyone please stand as Deacon Bill Prue comes forward and does our invocation? Sorry.
Thank you, Leader Rob. Please bow your heads as we begin. O Lord our God, we give you great thanks for this beautiful day, for the gift of being able to gather in the presence of our friends and our leadership. We give you glory in everything we do. We give you praise in everything we accomplish, because without you, we accomplish nothing. So we ask for your peace and your joy to descend upon us this day, especially as we remember these great events in the history of our nation, which you have blessed so strongly throughout these years. We ask again that you send your Holy Spirit upon us to give us knowledge, wisdom, and courage as we go forth through this day and through all the days of our life. In God's holy name, amen.
Thank you. You may be seated. And thank you, Deacon Prue. you all again for being here today. Last year, I took the task of coordinating this event, and it's truly an honor to have you all here today to be part of it. The Cub Scouts of Pack 22 are proud to be hosting this event for the people of Braintree, and a lot of hard work has gone into it by them, their leaders, members of the committee, and of course, parents. Braintree has a rich history and served a role in the creation of our nation. Throughout this program, you'll come to see and understand the importance our town of Braintree served in the creation of the United States of America. So, to start us off, I'd like to invite Mayor Aaron Joyce to provide some opening remarks on our great town of Braintree and the Treaty of Paris of 1783. Please welcome Mayor Aaron Joyce.
Good morning, everyone. How are you guys? You guys are about to really remember a very historic time in Braintree. Braintree is a very historic place and continues to be remembered that way. You guys will all be a part of Braintree's history. This is being televised, and members of the community are going to watch it, and you will forever be a part of Braintree's history by participating today. So, congratulations. Town government in Braintree is in many ways like our national government, but in a miniature version. As mayor, I represent the executive branch of our town's government, and the Braintree Town Council, who holds their meetings in this room and sits over there along that wall, is the legislative branch. My office is upstairs, if any of you have ever been there. And if you haven't, you should come visit me. Our town of Braintree is truly a democracy. But how did that democracy come to be? How is the town of Braintree connected to the American Revolution and the creation of our democratic system of government in the 18th century? The first and most famous man to sign the Declaration of Independence was John Hancock. Did you know John Hancock was born in Braintree? John Adams helped to write the Declaration, and he also signed it. John Adams was also born in Braintree. Although the Declaration of Independence said that we ought to be free and independent, and we celebrate July 4th as Independence Day, it was the military victory in the American Revolution which truly made us independent. Great Britain did not give us our independence. We fought for it and won it on the battlefield. It was the Treaty of Paris of 1783, signed 242 years ago this past September, which ended the American Revolution and changed the statement of our independence of 1776 into the legal, diplomatic reality of our independence in 1783. John Adams of Braintree was a principal negotiator and the author of the Treaty of Paris in 1783. He was the first to sign the treaty for the United States. We became an independent democratic country on September 3rd, 1783. And we remain a sovereign democracy today because of the service of millions of Americans who have served in our armed forces. Hundreds of thousands of men and women in uniform have given their lives over centuries to preserve and protect our liberties and to keep the United States of America a strong and free country. It is so fitting that we honor them today with Veterans Day beginning this week. You all know that Veterans Day is on the 11th on Tuesday, and we'll be having a ceremony right here on Tuesday morning at 11. That would be wonderful if you have time to attend. But today we honor the Treaty of Paris of 1783. We remember John Adams, John Hancock, and all of the men and women who created our country and defend the nation in which we live right now. So thank you so much for being here this morning to be a part of Braintree's very rich history. I really appreciate it. You have to have a lot of hands to keep the work going, and we're really happy to have you here today, so thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor Joyce, for joining and being part of this event. Next, we have Den Leader Julie McCurtain to provide the narration of the annual anniversary observance of the Treaty of Paris of 1783. Please welcome Julie McCurtain.
Thank you all for being here this morning to join with the adult leaders and the Cub Scouts of Braintree Pact 22 to commemorate the signing of the Treaty of Paris of 1783. My name is Julie McCurtain, and I am the Bear Den Leader for the Braintree Pact. The Declaration of Independence and the Treaty of Paris of 1783 are two of the most important documents in world history. John Adams of Braintree, Massachusetts, helped to write the Declaration of Independence and was also chief author of the Treaty of Paris of 1783. John Adams and Benjamin Franklin of Philadelphia are the only two people to have helped write both of those documents and sign them. Given the connection of our town of Braintree to these two vital historical documents, it was considered appropriate to commemorate them both to explain their importance in both our nation's history and their relation to each through an annual ceremony to be held in Braintree. Under the direction of Mr. Patrick Leonard Jr., originator of these ceremonies, the first annual observance took place as part of the Braintree Town Council meeting here in the Town Hall Auditorium on Tuesday, September 3rd, 2013, the 230th anniversary of the signing of the Treaty of Paris. It was originally organized by the Braintree Bicentennial Time Capsule Society and the Braintree Historical Society. Starting in 2014, Braintree Cub Scout Pact 22, the leaders and scouts participated in the event for many years under the direction of Cub Master Maureen Clapp. Several years ago, under the direction of Donna Connors, Joan Piasecki, and Jen Ricciarelli, Pact 22 most kindly made the ceremony one of our own annual programs. The Administrative Committee of the Cub Scout Pact 22 now organizes the event, and this year, the overall coordinator for the event is Cub Master Rob Strong. Please give a round of applause to the Braintree Cub Scout Pact 22 leaders and committee members for the work they've done putting together this program today. Thank you to all the adult leaders, parents, and most of all, the scouts of Pact 22 for all the hard work they have done and the time they have dedicated over the years when they have participated in the ceremony. Thank you for sharing this important part of Braintree's history with our citizens today.
Thank you, Julie. And now we have Den Leader Jonathan Danho, who's going to give us the introduction and provide some insight on an important woman in our nation's history. Please welcome Jonathan Danho.
Good morning, everyone. As Rob mentioned, my name is Jonathan Danho. I am the Den Leader for our Tiger Cubs. We're going to talk about Abigail Adams for a couple minutes. The next part of our program, one of our Lipo Scouts, Maria Lang, she's going to read one of the most famous quotes from one of Abigail Adams' letters to John Adams, where she encourages him to remember the ladies and thus the rights of women as the government of the United States of America was being formed. Abigail Adams was a remarkable Braintree lady. She was the wife of our second president, John Adams, and the mother of our sixth president, John Quincy Adams. John and Abigail were the first president and first lady to live in the newly constructed White House. Abigail advocated tirelessly for the rights of women in an age when their rights were limited at best. She was both witness and participant in some of the most crucial events in our nation's early history, and she documented all that she witnessed. Through meticulously documented communication between John and Abigail, we observed their marriage as a true partnership in a time when men dominated all decisions of family and societal life. John and Abigail challenged each other intellectually, respected each other's opinions, and became a shared force of nature in our town and nation in its early stages. There is no question that Abigail had a very heavy influence on John's policy decisions and political opinions throughout his career. With John being one of the most important founding fathers in government at the time of our nation's birth, Abigail's influence translated through critical decisions during our nation's founding. John and Abigail exchanged thousands of letters over the decades. This collection forms an incredibly unique view and documentation of the establishment of our nation. Abigail Adams is still, to this day, one of the most influential women in our country's history, and we are proud to call her one of Braintree's own. I now welcome Maria to read Abigail Adams' letter to her husband John in March of 1776, titled, Remember the Ladies. Maria?
Thank you, Leader Jonathan. Hello and welcome to everyone. My name is Maria Lang and I am a Webelos Cub Scout from Pack 22 in Braintree. I am here to read Abigail Adams' letter titled, Remember the Ladies. I long to hear that you declared an independency. And by the way, in the new code of laws, which I suppose it will be necessary for you to make, I desire you would remember the ladies and be more generous and favorable to them than your ancestors. Do not put such unlimited powers into the hands of husbands. Remember, all men would be tyrants if they could. If particular care and attention is not paid to the ladies, we are determined to foment a rebellion. And we will not hold ourselves bound to any laws in which we have no voice or representation. That your sex is naturally tyrannical. Is a truth so thoroughly established to admit of no dispute. But such of you wish to be happy, willing to give up the harsh title of master for the more tender and endearing friend of one. That is the end of my presentation. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you very much, Maria. As you can tell from those words, Abigail Adams was a very strong woman who cared not just about our country, but about the women and the important part they had in shaping our country then and today. Thank you, Maria, for the reading. With the next part of our program, we have several scouts who have volunteered to do readings and talk about different aspects of our nation's independence. Our first scout will be Lucas Strong, a Webelos scout from Pack 22, to do a reading titled, The Army, the Navy, and the Marine Corps are established to fight for our independence in the American Revolution 1775. Please welcome Lucas Strong.
Thank you, Leader Rob. Hello and welcome to everyone. My name is Lucas Strano. I am a Webelos Cub Scout from Pack 22 in Braintree. This year is a very special year for our town of Braintree and for the United States of America. It is the 250th anniversary of the creation of the United States Army, the United States Navy, and the United States Marine Corps. It is also the 180th anniversary of the United States Naval Academy at Annapolis. Braintree men were very important in creating all four. Before we had a nation, we had an army. Before we had a nation, we had a navy. Before we had a nation, we had Marine Corps. Who is the one man who helped to create all three? Where did he come from? His name is John Adams, and he came from Braintree, Massachusetts. In June of 1775, John Adams helped to create the Army of the United States Colonies, which is now the United States Army. At the time, John Adams nominated a man from Virginia to be the general and the commander-in-chief of that army. You all know his name. It was George Washington. To officially be the general and commander-in-chief, George Washington had to have a special order. It was called a commission. That commission had to be signed by the president of all of the English colonies in America. He was called the president of the Second Continental Congress. It was like being called the president of the United States. Who was the man who signed George Washington's commission? Where did he come from? His name was John Hancock, and he came from Braintree, Massachusetts. He was the president of all of the English colonies. In October of 1775, many men in the Continental Congress said we need a navy. One man in the Congress was the strongest supporter of a navy. He spoke so well that people agreed with him. They voted to create a navy for the colonies. Who was that man? It was John Adams from Braintree. He is called one of the fathers of the United States Navy. The most famous captain in our Navy's history is named John Paul Jones. He too needed a commission to make him officially captain. Who signed the commission for Captain John Paul Jones? It was President John Hancock from Braintree. In November 1775, one man in the Continental Congress proposed that we create Marine Corps. Congress agreed and the Marine Corps were created. Who was the man who said that we should have Marine Corps? It was John Adams from Braintree. Every military group needs a commanding officer. The first man to command our Marine Corps was Major Samuel Nicholas. He was called the commandant. Who signed his commission? It was John Hancock from Braintree. Before we had a Declaration of Independence, we had an Army, a Navy, and a Marine Corps. The soldiers, the sailors, and the Marines. He gave the men of the Congress the courage to declare our independence on July 4th, 1776. Thank you. That is the end of my presentation. Thank you all for reading.
Thank you, Lucas, and great job. Next, we have Finn Slattery, a Webelow Scout from Pack 22, to do a reading on our first Independence Day. Please welcome Finn Slattery.
Thank you, Leader Rob. Hello and welcome to everyone. My name is Finn Slattery and I'm a Webelow Scout from Cub Scouts, from Cub Scout Pack 22 in Braintree. There are two great documents of the independence of the United States of America, and I'm going to talk to you about the first one, the Declaration of Independence. Just about everyone has heard about the Declaration of Independence. Every 4th of July we have parades and cookouts to celebrate Independence Day. But did you know the Declaration of Independence did not make us independent? What it did was tell everyone that we thought we should be independent. We wanted our independence, but Great Britain did not agree. 3 great men wrote the Declaration of Independence. One of them was from Braintree. His name was John Adams. Thomas Jefferson of Virginia wrote most of the Declaration of Independence. He became the 3rd President of the United States. President Jefferson had help from 2 other men. The first one was Benjamin Franklin. He was born in Boston. He lived in Pennsylvania. The second man was John Adams from Braintree. Many people wanted him to write the Declaration of Independence, but he suggested that Thomas Jefferson from Virginia do it. But John Adams did help write the Declaration of Independence. John Adams became the 2nd President of the United States of America. In 1735, John Adams was born in Braintree. Do you know the name of the first man to sign the Declaration of Independence? The first man to sign the Declaration of Independence was from Braintree too. His name was John Hancock. He and John Adams were friends. John Hancock was president of the Continental Congress. John Hancock became the first governor of Massachusetts. In 1737, John Hancock was born in Braintree. Braintree is the only town in the United States to have two men who signed the Declaration of Independence, John Hancock and John Adams. They signed the Declaration of Independence, but it did not make us independent. I told everyone around the world that we wanted to be. King George III of Great Britain did not agree. He said he still ruled us. We did not agree with him. He sent an army to America to fight us, and we had to fight the American Revolution. Thousands of good people gave their lives in the American Revolutions to make the United States of America an independent country. General George Washington led our army and we won. When we won, we became an independent country at last. John Adams and John Hancock, two great men. We are all proud of our town of Braintree. We are all proud of John Adams and John Hancock and all they did for us. They were both born in Braintree. Both of them were once young boys in Braintree, just like me. My name is Finn Slaughter, and I'm a young boy from Braintree too. That is the end of my presentation. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you very much, Finn. Next, we have James Ballard, a Weeblo Scout for Pack 22, to do our next reading on what happened in our nation between July 4th, 1776 and September 3rd, 1783. Please welcome James Ballard.
Thank you, Leader Rob. Hello and welcome to everyone. My name is James Ballard and I am a Weeblo Scout from Cub Scout Pack 22 in Braintree. The American Revolution began in Massachusetts on April 1775. The shot heard around the world on Lexington Green was the first shot of war which would be fought in America and around the world. For more than 8 years, see the deaths of thousands of men and women and the destruction of property valued in the millions. But the American Revolution would also see the birth of the United States of America and the creation of the greatest democracy in human history. 8 Americans were killed and 10 were wounded on Lexington Green. They were the first of thousands of American patriots, both men and women, who would shed their blood, suffer life-changing injuries of mind and body, and die in the war for our freedom. Although the Declaration of Independence was signed on July 4th, 1776, remember that it did not end the war. We did not become a free and independent nation on July 4th, 1776. The American Revolution went on for more than 7 years. Before the American Revolution ended on September 3rd, 1783, it had become a war fought on land and at sea. It was a global power struggle between two of the largest and most powerful empires in history. Our enemy, Great Britain, and our ally, France. Close to 7,000 Americans were killed in battle, over 6,000 wounded, and over 20,000 taken prisoner. Over 17,000 Americans died of disease, more than half of them as prisoners. Think of the American Revolution in human terms, not just numbers. Think of yourself as living then and suffering the loss of your father, mother, sister, brother, son or daughter, husband or wife. Loved ones whose death was in some way related to the American Revolution. The emotional human cost of war can never truly be calculated. Despite the death, destruction, human suffering, and tragedy, surely no war has ever fought for a more noble cause than the American Revolution, and no war ever had a more glorious result, the birth of the United States of America, which has helped millions of people all over the world enjoy the blessings of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Let us never forget the men and women of the American Revolution who fought and died during those 8 years when Americans defeated the greatest empire in history, in world history, to win their freedom, the freedom that we as Americans enjoy today. That is the end of my presentation. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you, James. Great job. Our next reading will be done by Luke O'Leary, a Weebelo Scout from Pack 22. He will be doing a reading about our second Independence Day and the Treaty of Paris. Please welcome Luke O'Leary.
Thank you, Leader Rob. Hello and welcome to everyone. My name is Luke O'Leary and I am a Weebelo Scout from Cub Scout Pack 22. There are two great documents of the independence of the United States of America. I'm going to talk to you about the second one. The Peace of Paris of 1783 was signed 242 years ago this past September. This morning we are all here to celebrate that anniversary. Everyone has heard of the Declaration of Independence. Everyone has gone to parades and cookouts and stayed up late to watch fireworks. But how many people have ever heard of the Peace of Paris of 1783? What was it? Did you know that our country really has two Independence Days? The first one is the one you all know about and that you all celebrate the 4th of July. But what Finn said was right. The Declaration of Independence did not make us an independent country. The Declaration of Independence said that we should be independent. If the Declaration did not make us an independent country, then what did? It was the victory over Great Britain in the American Revolution. King George III of Great Britain was forced to finally agree that we were independent. The document that really made us independent was the Treaty of Paris of 1783. The United States of America became an independent country 242 years ago. September 3rd, 1783 is our second Independence Day. What does it have to do with Braintree? It has a lot to do with Braintree. What did we say wrote the Declaration of Independence? What we said that it was Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, and John Adams from Braintree. Do you know who wrote a lot of the Treaty of Paris of 1783? It was John Adams from Braintree again. John Jay and Benjamin Franklin wrote parts of it too. Who was the first man to sign the Declaration of Independence? Do you remember? The first man to sign the Declaration was John Hancock from Braintree. Do you know the name of the first man to sign the Treaty of the Peace of Paris of 1783? The first man to sign the Treaty of Paris of 1783 was John Adams from Braintree. Men from Braintree were the first to sign both of the great documents of the independence of the United States of America. John Hancock and John Adams, two great men, the Declaration of Independence and the Treaty of Paris of 1783, two great documents. The first said that we wanted to be an independent country, but King George III, the ruler of British Empire, did not agree. The second said that we were an independent country, and this time King George III was forced to admit that we had won the American Revolution, and now he had to agree that we were a free country. He had won our independence by beating the most powerful empire on earth. John Adams, a man from Braintree, helped to write both of those great documents of our independence. John Hancock and John Adams, two men from Braintree, were the first to sign both of these great documents for our freedom. We are all proud of our town of Braintree. We are all proud of John Adams and John Hancock and all they did for all of us. Both John Adams and John Hancock were born in Braintree. Both of them were once young boys in Braintree just like me. My name is Luke O'Leary and I'm a young boy from Braintree too. That is the end of my presentation. Thank you all for listening, and happy Second Independence Day and happy Veterans Day.
So before the next part, I just want to say thank you to Mayor Joyce for being here today. She has another engagement that she has to go to, but thank you all. Thank you for being here and being part of this. Thank you, Luke, for that reading. So our last reading will be done by Lucas Strano. He will be doing a reading titled After the American Revolution, 1794 to 1798. Please welcome back Lucas Strano.
Thank you, Leader Rob. When the American Revolution ended, our country did not have very much money. To save money, Congress kept a small army, but they said that the Navy and the Marines would have to be disbanded and not exist anymore. In 1794, when General George Washington was our president and John Adams was our vice president, they both decided that our country needed a new Navy. So they created the United States Navy once again. They had ordered 6 new ships from the American Navy. One of them was the USS Constitution, which is still in Boston today. 3 men signed the order to build the USS Constitution. One of them was John Adams from Braintree. When John Adams was our president, he said that we had a new Navy. We needed our United States Marine Corps back again. When he started the Marine Corps again, he said the Marines needed a band. So he started the United States Marine Corps Band. Everyone in Braintree knows that Sylvanus Thayer was the father of the United States Military Academy at West Point. But did you know that President John Quincy Adams wanted to create a United States Naval Academy also? He was not able to do it as president, but in 1845, when he was a representative from Massachusetts in Congress, he worked with the Secretary of the Navy, and the United States Naval Academy at Annapolis was founded. The Academy celebrated its 180th birthday this year on October 10th. The United States Army and the United States Navy and the United States Marine Corps all celebrate their 250th birthdays this year. The Army in June and the Navy in October. The United States Marine Corps will be 250 years old tomorrow. Our town of Braintree is a wonderful place. Our town of Braintree has an incredible history. People from all over the world love our country, our freedom, and our democracy. We should all be very proud of John Adams, John Hancock, John Quincy Adams, and some leaders there for all they did for our Army, our Navy, and our Marine Corps, and all they did to make the United States of America the strong and free country where we all live today. All of them helped to create the United States of America. May we remember them always. My name is Lucas Strano, and I'm a Weeblo Scout from Cub Scout Pack 22 in Braintree. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucas. And thank you to all our scouts that volunteered to read in our program today. One of our scout laws is to be brave. And as many of you know, public speaking isn't an easy task. The scouts that spoke today showed a lot of bravery to stand before you and do something that is not easy for them to do. Thank you, scouts. At this time, I ask that our 13 flag bearers line up in the back with leaders Jonathan, Julie, and Matt. In the next part of our program, we'll be reading the document and text for the ringing of the Braintree Liberty Bell. Please give us a few minutes to get set up. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. The Treaty of Paris of 1783 listed the 13 original British colonies in America individually by name. As I announce the name of each former British colony and now newly independent state of our Braintree Pack 22 Cub Scouts will ring Braintree's Liberty Bell in honor of each one and place the state flag on the stand. The following is not an exact quote, but adapted from the original text of the Treaty of Paris of 1783. It is one of the most important paragraphs of any treaty ever negotiated in the history of the world and is largely the work of Braintree-born John Adams. This is the formal treaty which made the United States of America a free and independent nation. The Treaty of Peace between the Crown of Great Britain and the United States having been concluded, His Britannic Majesty and the United States of America have appointed David Hartley, member of the Parliament of Great Britain, and the United States, on their part, appointed John Adams from the town of Braintree in the state of Massachusetts, Benjamin Franklin from the city of Philadelphia in the state of Pennsylvania, and John Jay, Chief Justice of the state of New York, to conclude and sign the treaty and agree upon and confirm the following articles. Article 1, His Britannic Majesty acknowledges the said United States to be free, sovereign, and independent states. New Hampshire, the state flag carried by Abigail Estrada. Massachusetts Bay, the state flag is carried by Oliver Cohen. Rhode Island and Providence Plantation, the state flag is carried by Rory Cote. state flag is carried by Andrew Danho. New York, the state flag is carried by Liam Richards. New Jersey, the state flag is carried by Sean McCurtain. Pennsylvania, the state flag is carried by Emmett Savage. Delaware, the state flag is carried by James Ballard. Maryland, the state flag is carried by Sean Donovan. Virginia, the state flag is carried by Maria Lang. North Carolina, the state flag is carried by Emmett Lee. South Carolina, the state flag is carried by Luke O'Leary. And Georgia, the state flag is carried by Finn Slattery. And that he treats with them as free, sovereign, and independent states, and for himself, his heirs, and successors, relinquishes all claims to the government, proprietary, and territorial rights of the same in every part thereof. Can we have a round of applause for all of our scouts and flag bearers? Thank you, guys. You can sit down now. Thank you, flag bearers. You did a wonderful job. On behalf of the Scout leaders and Scouts of Cub Scout Pack 22, I would like to thank everyone who participated in today's program and everyone who attended. Thank you for all for participating in this commemoration of one of the greatest events in the history of our nation and the history of the world, and the key role which people from Braintree, Massachusetts played in this epic event. The signing of the Treaty of Paris of 1783, which made the United States of America a free and independent country. The signing of the Treaty of Paris is one of, if not the, most important events in the history of our nation. As you heard earlier from our readers, we celebrate the anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence every year on July 4th. It is our hope that by holding this commemoration ceremony each year, we can bring awareness of this important event in our nation's history and our town's history to the younger generations of Braintree. Thank you all for being here today. A special thanks to Mr. Chris Kern from BCAM TV for doing the video recording of today's observance, and to Mr. Wesley Reed, the Executive Director, and to all the professional staff at BCAM TV for preserving this event and sharing it with their viewers. And finally, a very special thank you to Mr. Patrick Leonard, both for creating and producing the beautiful program you see and his help in planning and writing the ceremony. We could not have presented the program without your help. Also, I want to say on a more personal note how much I appreciate the recognition that Mr. Leonard brings to the Scouts. Every year at our annual Blue and Gold banquet, Mr. Leonard ensures that the Scouts who participated in this event are recognized for their hard work, bravery, and leadership. He presents each Scout with either a certificate or medal for the role they had in this event. It truly means a lot to the leaders and the Scouts that you put so much time and effort into the recognition you show, and the town of Braintree appreciates all the hard work you do as historian on behalf of Braintree Post 86 and the American Legion. Thank you so much, Mr. Leonard. Thank you all once again for being here today. May God bless the men and women of our armed forces, past, present, and future, for defending our nation, our liberties, and our freedom. May God guide you all in your future endeavors. May God bless America. Also, happy Veterans Day to all that have served our great nation, and thank you to all who are still serving. Thank you. Now I invite Deacon Bill Prue to come forward, and I ask that you all please stand for the benediction.
Thank you, Leader Rob, once again. I learn so much every time I come here. You know, just through osmosis, just a little bit more about the Treaty of Paris and our great history here in Braintree, which is amazing. So again, thank you all. PAC 22, wonderful job. Just a credit to all your leadership, your parents, everybody else who's trained, brought you up, taught you all the wonderful skills you have. So last year, I won't ask the question this year, I'm going to give you 3 years. Benediction, as Leader Rob told me that I would, or asked me, and gave me the privilege to do the benediction, is from Latin, meaning 2 words, bene, good, and diction, word. So benediction. So that means put it together, good word. So that's really what a benediction is. It's not really my good word, but it's the good word of God above. So just a small note as well. It's been, as in my church, Church Universal, it's been a kind of an exciting year. We've had Pope Leo, the first American-born Pope, elevated to that position. Also, the first millennial saint was named this year, which is Carlo Acutis, an Italian young man who was 15, unfortunately, when he passed. But he was made a saint or declared a saint in our church for heroic virtue. And the heroic virtue is what Scouting teaches us all, right? Especially our young men and young women today, is that heroic virtue. That's like a strong statement. But what does that mean? It just means Jesus said, what do we need to do? What's the greatest commandment? Love God above all things and love our neighbor as ourselves. So those are the 2 heroic virtues that somebody like Carlo Acutis followed. Now, he loved soccer, he loved gaming, he loved programming. He was a young guy who died again too soon. But he also said that he would never want to waste a minute of his day, of his week, not pleasing God. So in doing so, he did a lot of great works with the poor, with the underprivileged, for his church. He did all these great things, but also, to please God, he clicked off his devices, right? Got away from his computer and got away from all his gaming and everything for just a little bit, so he could spend time in prayer and helping his neighbor. And he was also a great devotee of St. Francis of Assisi, a great saint from the Middle Ages. And he prayed this prayer often in his young life. And a lot of us adults may know the prayer, may be able to recite it by heart. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. And where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, ever joy. He prayed that often. And for our final prayer, our benediction, our good word, please bow your heads. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord let his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. And may the Lord look kindly upon you and give you peace. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Deacon Prue. We will conclude our program by singing God Bless America. So please join us, all right? Thank you all for being here, and that concludes our ceremony. Thank you.